Good morning, colleagues. We've got a lot to discuss.
Should you be getting a PIP payment for ADHD, yes or no?
I think it very much depends on the nature of the condition and the severity.
ADHD, a
These things are a
PIP payment.
spectrum, so I think it...
Really interesting to hear your opinion over this, because there's a growing rebellion within the Labour Party on this, and I must admit I see the validity of this. I mean, here is a socialist party, a party that's supposed to be standing up and representing ordinary working people, people who are downtrodden, disadvantaged, whatever. And here we've got the chameleon, the shape, what is he called? Shift shares, whatever he is.
This is it. The British government is about to drop a bombshell, a radical overhaul of the disability benefit system. And make no mistake, this isn't just policy, it's a battlefield. Millions stand to lose their lifelines. Critics say this is a ruthless cost-cutting exercise, targeting the most vulnerable. Supporters argue the system is bloated and needs fixing. But what's the truth? What's really happening behind closed doors? Stay with us as we unravel the shocking details, the political firestorm, and the devastating impact this could have on you or someone you love.
We're going to do things differently. We're going to tell the truth, even when they are hard truths.
And requires an assistance dog once told me how she found the process to get the benefit traumatising. Returning to see her in Horsforth near Leeds, she said disabled people need PIP because of the additional costs of disability.
It's extortionate to be disabled in the UK.
The government's message is clear. Only the most severely disabled will qualify for benefits moving forward. This means major restrictions on conditions like anxiety, ADHD, and depression disorders that have seen a surge in diagnoses over the last decade. But here's the kicker. Disability claims for mental health conditions have doubled in 10 years, and Westminster is sounding the alarm, claiming we have an overdiagnosis crisis. Health Secretary Wes Streeting has already hinted at sweeping changes, but when pressed on specifics he stumbled. Why? Is the government second-guessing itself? Or are they hoping to push this through quietly, without you noticing? And now, a stunning twist: rebellion is brewing, not in the opposition, but within the Labour Party itself. Dozens of Labour MPs, many of them first-timers, are refusing to back this brutal crackdown. They fear backlash from their constituents, millions of whom rely on disability benefits. But Labour leader Keir Starmer, he's staying the course. Once a staunch advocate for social welfare, Starmer now appears determined to prove he's tough on benefits, a move some say is aimed at swaying Conservative voters. The man who once stood with Jeremy Corbyn, defending welfare programs, is now leading the charge to slash them. Is this political survival or a betrayal of his party's core values? You decide.
Let's now talk to political commentator Mike Parry on all of this. Mike, good morning. Very good to see you, and really interesting to hear your opinion over this, because there's a growing rebellion within the Labour Party on this, and I must admit I see the validity of this. I mean, here is a socialist party, a party that's supposed to be standing up and representing ordinary working people, people who are downtrodden, disadvantaged, whatever. And here we've got the chameleon, the shape, what is he called? Shift shares, whatever he is. Starmer, who basically will be anybody you want him to be. One stage you'll be voting with Jeremy Corbyn to say, oh, we should have benefits for everybody. Now he's completely different identity now. Where do you stand in this? What's your view on this? What's your take, my friend?
Well, like you, Eamon, and maybe Ellie as well, I'm completely confused about which face we take of Keir Starmer. He hasn't just got two faces. He's got a multiple number of faces, depending on who he is or where he is. If he's on the world stage, he has his statesman.
Let's talk numbers. The government claims Britain is drowning in a £10 billion welfare deficit, and cutting disability benefits is the only way to plug the hole. But here's the hypocrisy. And then, there's the generational divide. A bombshell report from PwC found that 1 in 4 young people don't want to work at all. Not just in low-paying jobs, but in any job. The primary reason, mental health. Is this an economic disaster in the making, or a cultural shift in how we view work? The reality is, while older generations juggled multiple jobs just to make ends meet, a growing portion of Gen Z refuses to accept the traditional 9-to-5 grind. How does this play into the government's crackdown on benefits? And what happens if millions simply refuse to work? The government is in chaos. Starmer's Labour faces an internal revolt. The disability system is on the chopping block. And an entire generation is questioning the very concept of work. But the biggest question remains, where does this end? Will these reforms truly fix a broken system, or will they drive even more people into poverty and desperation? And if they succeed in cutting benefits today, who's next? Pensioners, single parents, you? This is a conversation we need to have. What do you think? Are these benefit cuts justified, or a dangerous attack on society's most vulnerable? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for breaking updates on this developing crisis.
Starmer, who basically will be anybody you want him to be. One stage you'll be voting with Jeremy Corbyn to say, oh, we should have benefits for everybody. Now he's completely different identity now. Where do you stand in this? What's your view on this? What's your take, my friend?
Well, like you, Eamon, and maybe Ellie as well, I'm completely confused about which face we take of Keir Starmer. He hasn't just got two faces, he's got a multiple number of faces, depending on who he is or where he is. If he's on the world stage, he has his statesman-like look on his face. If he's back in Britain, he seems to be hiding from some of these severe policies, which a lot of people think are going to make the country much poorer. And I'm talking about the economic policies of Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, and at the same time, turning full circle again and attacking those who thought they could most rely on the Labour Party, and that is people who take benefits off the government. Now, we all know that when the benefit system in this country was started, it was a safety net, not a way of life. But if you look at the figures that we've been reading about over the last 2 or 3 weeks, 10 million people in this country are economically inactive. The number of people on benefits has soared massively, about 40% since before COVID. All of a sudden, Labour say, we're going to get tough on this, I'm going to cut it all back, except the newspaper headlines this morning are indicating they're going to row back on that determination. And that's because they've got so many MPs now who are first-time MPs who've never had a job before in their lives outside of working in government or civil service, who know they will get a hammering from their voters. And if this has to be put through Parliament and has to be voted upon, then the constituents can find out whether their MP voted for it or not. And that's why there's a rebellion, because lots of backbench MPs are saying, I'm not voting to cut benefits.
Here's the argument. They're going to say, oh, well, we were left with a £10 billion black hole and we've got to fill it somewhere, whatever. I put it to you. If you put you or me in government and we sat round the cabinet table, I could save you 10 billion quid tomorrow.